guys, it's Kaz and today I'm here to share with you my top 10 Australian young adult books that are on my TBR. Those books that are Australian made and I am dying to read. This is a part of the hashtag LoveAusYA movement, I guess you call it. Pretty much just sharing, recommending and promoting Australian young adult literature. So let's jump straight into the top 10 books on my AusYA TBR. Razorhurst by Justine Labalestiere. I went to the book launch and signing for this book last year, I believe. This is set in a particular neighbourhood in 1930s Sydney, and this is about Kelpie and Dymphna whose lives cross over the corpse of Dymphna's lover. Pretty interesting. I think this also includes a bit of mob rivalry. It's in a familiar-ish setting to me, but also in the 1930s, so a bit historical as well, and apparently ghosts as well. There might be ghosts or something. So this intrigues me greatly, and I do have a second signed copy of this one, so when I do get around to reading and reviewing it, I'll be giving one of these away. Sabriel by Garth Nix. Now, back in the day, back when I was a youngin', I read, what series was it? It was the Keys to the Kingdom series, which started off with Mr. Monday, then Grim Tuesday, Drowned Wednesday, etc, etc. I started reading that series over 10 years ago. I'm not sure how far I got into it, but I did really enjoy it. Plus, I've also heard some wonderful things about Sabriel. I haven't really heard anything negative, so it's on my TBR. I don't actually know a huge amount about the story and I kind of want to keep it that way, but from what I can tell, it is about Sabriel, who lives in a fantasy world, so there's magic and the dead don't necessarily stay dead or something or other, so that sounds quite intriguing to me. Definitely looking forward to getting around to this one. The Flywheel by Erin Goff. Now, this one I was aware of from the Sydney Writers' Festival. I went to one of the panels that focused on YA literature. The panel included Barry Johnsberg, Melina Marchetta and Laurie Hoss Anderson alongside Erin Goff, and she talked a little bit about her novel The Flywheel, and then funnily enough, this showed up in my goodie bag from TeenCon. Delilah, the main character in this one, has a crush on another girl, and I think that this one is kind of just about her dealing with other people's reactions to the whole thing, school life, struggles, all of that jazz. But yeah, it just, how cute is this cover as well, by the way. Storm Dancer by Jay Kristoff. Now, I have read one book by Jay Kristoff before. He was the co-author of Illuminae, also written by Amy Kaufman, and basically I was obsessed with that book. It absolutely blew me away. So any other book by Jay Kristoff, hands down, I'm up for reading it. But this one definitely does intrigue me because it is a fantasy novel set in Japan with steampunk elements, so that has me hooked. Chasing Odysseus by S.D. Gentile. This is one of the books that I received in a goodie bag at Supernova this year, and I'm so glad that I did because this sounds right up my alley. I think this is based off Homer's Odyssey with some of the side characters from that one. They become the main characters in this story. Greek mythology, heroes, gods, monsters. Need I know more? No, I don't. I'm really excited to read this one. Looking for Allie Brandi by Melina Marchetta. I have read a couple of Melina Marchetta's books previously. There was Finnegan of the Rock and On the Jellicoe Road. I really enjoyed both of them, so I'm definitely excited to read another one of her books. I think that this one is a coming of age story about Josephine Allie Brandi. She's in high school, coming into contact with new things like boys. Ooh-hoo-hoo. I've just heard fantastic things about this book. Heard nothing but praise. The Named by Marianne Curley. I picked this one up on a total whim. I think I saw this one in a pop-up bookstall where all of the books were super cheap, and then I was watching one of Maureen Keevy's videos months ago and she mentioned this was one of her favorite series or something like that. She just praised it, said how she loved it, so I thought that was super lucky that a random book that I picked up not knowing anything about happens to be highly praised by someone whose reviews I trust. So there we go. I still actually don't know anything about this. From what I can tell already, there's time travel or something. You're able to change the past? So I'm guessing time travel-ish, but not entirely sure. I'm just gonna leave this mysterious and dive in not knowing what I'm expecting and hoping that I'll be pleasantly surprised. Life in Outer Space by Melissa Keel. This one I believe is a coming-age story about a guy. He's a bit of a geek and this girl comes into his life and kind of just shakes things up a little bit, turns it on its head a little bit, and he's trying to learn how to deal with all of these new changes or something. I'm assuming. I haven't read it, but I have heard some really wonderful things about it, especially from Dylan Books. He's reviewed it, he really enjoyed it, and I've seen some other great reviews as well. So yeah, Cooper Bartholomew is Dead by Rebecca James, another book that I found in my goodie bag from TeenCon. This is about Cooper Bartholomew, who is found dead. It appears that he has jumped off a cliff, but his girlfriend doesn't quite believe that. She thinks that there's something a little more sinister going on, and so she decides to start looking into things and seeing what really happened on that day. One person knows the truth. Dun dun dun! And the last book on my list is The Industry by Rose Foster. The main character, Kira, stumbles across this kind of unusual puzzle on the internet, and she manages to solve it and then finds herself kidnapped by an organization called The Industry. So I think this kind of involves a bit of code breaking and hacking and things like that. Sounds pretty cool, looks pretty cool. I'm intrigued. So those are the top 10 books on my TBR pile that are Australian young adult. Obviously I don't own all of those ones, but I do have the intention of reading them at some point. Probably, hopefully sooner rather than later. I will also be putting up another video similar to this one in which I share with you my 10 favourite young adult literature books that are Australian. So I will be personally recommending you some Aussie YA books, so keep an eye out for that one. But yeah, I would absolutely love to hear some recommendations from you guys if you have read any young adult books that are Australian. If not, then what about on your TBR? Anyway, that's all that I have for today, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you very soon with a new video. Bye!